Welcome back. Members of the business community have collaborated in an effort to assist local authorities in COVID-19 mitigation efforts. Aid came in the form of a donation of hand sanitizers to fuel the Ministry of Education's supply to the nation's schools.
As the Ministry of Health continues to encourage proper hygienic practices as a key preventative method for the spread of viral diseases, members of the business community have stepped in to provide a key resource needed for easy sanitation: hand sanitizer. During the handing over ceremony, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmore George applauded the charitable gesture and promised that the donation will go a long way in sustaining intensive health and hygiene exercises at schools.
I'm really happy to see when something positive comes out of a bad situation. And I'm hoping that this sets a precedence, not just for the medical fraternity, but for the wider society, where we need to adopt a standard of assisting, providing support where you can and where it is needed. So I really applaud all of those.
Belmar George says she is very pleased with the interest shown by members of the business community into the health of the nation's students. She highlighted the significant impact that a viral outbreak could have on schools.
The school is comprised of a lot of children in close contact with each other. So you could imagine in one classroom of 30-something children, one child coming down with it. It means the entire class will get it, and in a very short period. But the other point that we note, whereas our population at risk is our 75 and up, or when we look at the disease profile for St. Lucia, persons with comorbid or concomitant diseases, that is persons with risk with other diseases, you become susceptible to developing severe disease. And what we note in our population in St. Lucia, when we look at the risk factors, for every home where we may have somebody that we're trying to protect, that is the group of elderly persons or persons with conditions, there's a school child. So our children may be at school and have very mild disease and be okay, but take it home.
The donated supplies now lie in the hands of the Ministry of Education to be distributed to schools island-wide. Port 7 News, I am Jacques Wooding.
Of late, the news has been laden with stories of teenagers running away or coming up missing. On Tuesday, the 10th of March, media personnel got a chance to speak with Minister for Education and Gender Relations, Dr. Gail Rigobert, on the spate of missing and runaway teens. Genevieve Gonzague tells us more in this report.
Identify and do more is the mantra of Minister for Education and Gender Relations, Dr. Gail Rigobert, when it comes to addressing the issue of vulnerable and at-risk youth.
Our reaction when these things do occur is not to focus on the individual cases per se, but to ensure that we do more, especially within the education sector, to ensure that we can identify vulnerable students, children, and offer them the requisite help before things escalate.
Dr. Rigobert said that the units of gender relations and education continue to be concerned when there are cases of children or teenagers running away or missing. According to her, the unit tries its very best to have timely interventions and help identified vulnerable youth. According to her, the unit tries its very best to have timely interventions to help identified vulnerable youth. Senator and former school principal Gibeon Ferdinand says the government has a responsibility to ensure implementation of social programs that will address such issues. He says the administration's track record on such matters is not commendable.
There's a lot of migration of parents out of the country in search of work. There are lots of children left unattended. There's a lot of child neglect. We have a child protection bill that I welcomed. But I think there's quite a lot of neglect at home, in the household, and that is part of the social problem. Our government, when we were in office, we had a lot of social programs that took care of parents and situations where people were at home and providing for their loved ones. But when you have a situation where most of the social programs in the country are either disintegrated or not being implemented, you will have an issue where parents will migrate for a better life, and in turn, you'll have lots of children unattended at home.
However, Minister Rigobert assured that the ministry is strengthening the legal framework and that there is a suite of legislation in the pipeline to deal with everything from vulnerable children to women, as well as crimes perpetrated against them. She says the Child Protection Act is the beginning of things to come. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
Minister with responsibility for WASCO, Ezekiel Joseph, says the company's financial situation is not suitable to support several ongoing projects at the same time. He further rubbishes previous suggestions made by civil engineer John Peters, who made a case for a price increase for water. Jacques Wooding reports.
According to Agriculture Minister Ezekiel Joseph, who holds responsibility for water and sewage company WASCO, the utility company is currently in no financial position to address its systematic and progressive issues simultaneously. However, the minister says raising the price of this vital commodity is not an option he is willing to consider.
I've made it clear, I don't think increasing the price of water is one of the options I'm looking at. Right? I believe that we need to reduce on our non-revenue water. The figures are too high. You could be increasing the price of water, and here it is, you have infrastructure, unfortunately, that creating a negative impact where you have a number of pipes bursting, you have leaks, you have according to figures, between 50 and 60% non-revenue water. I believe the time has come for us to really look at how we can get resources to replace this outdated infrastructure. And after you have done that and you have a reliable supply of water, then you can look at the increasing price of water.
In April 2013, the National Water and Sewage Commission established and approved a dredging fee for the purpose of financing a desilting project at the John Compton Dam. The Water and Sewage Company WASCO, in their application for the tariff review, had stated that the amount to dredge the dam was $6 million Eastern Caribbean dollars and that the project would take no more than 2 years to be completed. Since the establishment of the dredging fund, allocations have averaged EC $425,971.53 monthly. However, as the additional fee approaches 8 years in commission, the John Compton Dam Rehabilitation Project remains in its first phase, being the construction of a holding site for the sediment which will be displaced from the dam when dredging begins in phase 2. The minister addressed the slow progression of this project.
Well, the dredging is ready to go. We almost finished preparing the sediment disposal area. Unfortunately, we have spoken about it. The weather pattern last year was not favorable for the contractor to be finished the work. It should be finished sometime in the end of March. And dredging, again, if the rainfalls continue, dredging should start sometime in April.
Joseph says discussions are ongoing to determine the best way forward for WASCO to address its pipeline issues. For Hot 7 News, I am Jacques Wooding.
The Oath of Giving, Togo partnered with the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association and Body Holiday Resorts to raise funds to purchase a vital piece of equipment capable of diagnosing cataract at an early stage to prevent vision loss. Togo's founder earlier this month handed a check to the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association, which will go towards the purchase of this equipment. Glenn Simon tells us more.
The Oath of Giving organization, Togo, is a non-profit organization dedicated to bridge the gap between communities local and abroad through philanthropic tourism. In June 2019, Togo commenced a GoFundMe campaign on behalf of the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association, SLBWA, to raise funds for the purchase of an autorefractor keratometer, which is a piece of equipment capable of diagnosing cataracts at an early stage to prevent vision loss. Earlier this month, Togo's founder, Tracy Alexis Dixon, presented the funds raised from the campaign to the SLBWA.
The organization raised close to $1,600 US, and this is to support the Blind Welfare Association to purchase an autorefractor equipment.
Executive Director of the SLBWA, Anthony Avril, thanked Jacqueline Scott of Body Holiday Resorts for making the initial contact with Togo, as well as Togo's founder and her team for diligently supporting the efforts of the SLBWA through this timely presentation.
I note that the Oath of Giving is an organization that seeks to help where needs is needed, and true to form, you are giving from out of what you received. So we want to say thank you. The St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association truly appreciate the effort.
Avril noted that the piece of equipment to be purchased will support the work of the SLBWA's Eye Care St. Lucia Clinic in better assessing clients with cognitive issues.
It is a very, very useful piece of equipment which will go a long way in helping our diagnostic capacity at the Eye Care St. Lucia Clinic, which operates from Mondays through Thursdays at the moment, and we are looking to increasing clinic times and so on. So we would like to take this opportunity to ask St. Lucians to patronize this service while we do charge, but it's affordable cost, and that in this way they can also help the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association.
This presentation comes on the heels of the Dine in the Dark fundraising activity organized by Sunswept Resorts, also to raise funds for the purchase of eye care equipment for the St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association. Glenn Simon reporting.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Sports and weather are coming up after the break.